The next section is super exciting. If we could get our panelists to come on up, Jackie, Trevor, Ron. So this next section, guys, we have created a panel of industry top producers on your island. Because I feel, it's one thing to hear from me on what I'm doing technology, but it's another to hear from the agents you're doing transactions with and that you see on a daily basis, and you've always thought, wow, how did they become successful? Well, now is our chance to hear all of their secrets. I guarantee there's going to be at least one or two good tips that come out of this, and then we'll turn the microphones over to you guys to ask questions at the end. So, thank you. Trevor? All right, well, we have one more panelist who is coming up right now. Okay, so as he's coming up here, I'm going to go ahead and start at this end, and I'm going to ask them a really simple question. Can you please tell us your name, where you grew up, and how long you've been doing business?
Susan Savage. I grew up in San Diego, California, and I've been in the business for 15 years following a career in information technology.
Ron Hamic. I've been in the business 10 years now, and I grew up all over. I was a military brat, but I've been here 20 years.
Hi, I'm Ling. I've been in real estate for 13 years, and I grew up in East Honolulu mostly.
Okay. I'm Jackie Oldbury. Born. I paid them. I gave them $10 each. So born and raised in Manila, Philippines, and I've been doing real estate here in Oʻahu for 10 years.
Hi, Trevor Benn. Thank you, Jack. Born in Ann Arbor, Michigan, but lived here my whole life. Moved back when I was one, I think. And in real estate for 22 years now.
So, Trevor, were you family business? Did you grow up in the business?
I grew up in a Manapua business. Manapua is, you don't know what a Manapua is. Yeah, I grew up in a restaurant business, and then I realized I didn't want to do that. And I was in tech for like a couple of years, and then went into selling real estate. But no family.
Anybody on the panel? Family? Okay, so all first generation. Oftentimes we have family. Okay, so if you wanted to, Susan, well, I guess Trevor, you have the mic. If you want to hand it to Jackie, that would be great. Yeah, 2 mics. Be like that. Thank you. Jackie, you've been in the business for 10 years. How long have you been on the island?
10 years.
So you got here and started selling real estate right away?
That's correct.
And how many transactions do you and your team have under contract or closed so far this year?
62.
62 in half a year. That's pretty fantastic. Who in here thinks that's great? And you've done it in 10 years. So what's your secret?
It won't be a secret anymore if I share it, right? Well, we do a lot of things. As far as the team is concerned, we do almost monthly seminars. I have a marketing arm who does my social media. We regularly do open houses. We send mailers. We participate in community events.
Good, thank you. Caron, what do you do as far as marketing to get your clients?
We do. I advertise on Yelp, on Zillow, and all of those things, and I get about 20% of my business from Yelp. So it's more of a lifestyle app, and so my clients are more about their lifestyle and what they're getting from coming to Hawaii.
Let me ask you about Yelp. Do you ask for referrals? Like after a transaction, do you ask your clients specifically to review you on Yelp? How do you do that?
I actually don't. I'm sure the answer is supposed to be yes.
No.
Okay. But I don't. They just review me, or a lot of times, even if they don't review on Yelp, they're telling their friends what a great experience they've had, or hopefully it's a good experience.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thanks. Ron?
Unlike the current trend of most people going to like a virtual brokerage, I found that having brick and mortar in a hyper-local area that you want to specialize in has been a real big benefit. And for me, I'm in Nauru Tower, and that's really helped me to kind of shift my circle of influence to people with a little more net worth and people that are moving into the Ward Village area with all the construction going on. And then the other half of my business is a lot of Zillow advertising. You know, they're the beast and they're here to stay. So
Susan?
Being that I live on the island of Molokai, I've closed 11 transactions this year, and I've got 3 in the hopper. That's actually pretty good for an island that doesn't have a traffic light. However, part of the key to knowing who to market to, and I do target marketing because unlike Oʻahu, the island of Molokai literally has 0 Chinese buyers. The infrastructure isn't there, so it's really important to know who your buyer is, regardless of which market you're in. I know that my buyers come from Alaska and from Canada. They like the rural environment. They like the casual lifestyle. So I target market to those areas, and I connect with realtors in those areas to let them know that their base can have an alternative place to live half of the year. When it's freezing cold there, they can have the Alaska of Hawaii on Molokai. And so that has helped me tremendously. It keeps me focused on the people who will buy and not spending a lot of my time weeding through people who aren't really likely candidates. The second thing I'll tell you is that although I live on a small island and I work for a small brokerage there, I have stayed licensed with Keller Williams in California because, like Shannon said, 30% of our buyers do come from the west coast of California. And so my network through an out of state brokerage has served me very well because they promote my listings at the Keller Williams office in San Diego. And so it's been very important for me.
Oh, interesting. Thank you. Trevor, can I ask you if you had to start all over again, or if you were advising a brand new agent, what's the one piece of advice you'd give them? Like, what's the one thing you wish you knew when you first started?
Sell commercial real estate.
And why? Higher price point?
Higher price point.
No emotions?
Yeah, when I started off, I did. I'm mostly residential, but I can look back on my career and say that the biggest properties we sold were, we did hotels in Waikiki and stuff like that. And those were, if you're talking about wealth building, and those are obviously the bigger ticket items. But I tell people, I bring people into my office that want to get into the business, and I actually bring up the production report. And I say, look, you went to college, you could go work at the middle management in banking or something and get all your weekends and holidays off. You can get a 401k and health benefits and all these things. So, why would you want to do this? Let's figure out, what you need to do in order to equal at least what that is. And it's amazing how, we have 8,000 members, 6,000 members, something like that, 6,000 members. And if you look at a production report, there's only 3,000 names on it. So either they're doing property management or they're just inactive. And then you start to really look at who's making a living wage out of it, and it really gets narrow. So what I try to help young people with that are getting in the industry is say, let's be realistic about what your plan is and how you're going to get there and what kind of numbers you need to actually sell in a super competitive, industry. So my advice is normally don't get into the business. Probably you didn't want to hear that, but
No, education. I mean, you arm them with education. So they
absolutely.
willingly. Thank you. Jackie, what's one piece of advice you'd give?
Establishing a good daily work habit and prospecting is the bloodline of our business. There's a lot of distractions in our business, and so you'll never notice that it's already 12 noon and you haven't really done any prospecting. There's a lot of emails to be returned, but if you don't prospect, you won't get any clients.
Go ahead.
I would probably, there's a couple things. Start out with a team or shadowing an agent. I think that was one of the best things that I did. And then also, rejection is great because every time that you get a no, that's one more step closer to yes. So sometimes it could be like 20, it could be 30, and then play a game with yourself. See if you can get as many as you can so you get a yes, and then improve the next time. So if you get 30 to get to the yes, the next time just get 20 to get to the yes. So it's sort of a fun thing.
I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon and re-emphasize the importance of new agent either building a team or joining a team. I think it's crucial. I think it's the future of the business. There's a few, I think, distinct advantages to that. One is that you're kind of promoting a healthy work-life balance. You have someone to rely on to help pick up the slack, take a vacation, take an evening off, and that's critical. My first few years fielding online leads, I was 24/7 on call, 365. So it's quick to burn out. And then I think the second component to that team is that a lot of clients are going to have an inherent preference for male, female, old, young, different demographics, different ethnicities. So I feel like it's kind of diversifying your portfolio, and ultimately I think you'll do more business because of it. And then secondly, real quickly, I used an accounting software called Wave. If I had it to start all over again, I mean, it scan your receipt, it links with your credit cards and your bank accounts. Every expenditure you make, it's automatically uploaded. You can categorize it. And I find that usually successful salespeople aren't as detail oriented. So, that's a really nice automated tool to shore up some of my weaknesses.
Thanks.
Well, I agree with Ron about teams. My team is my husband. My husband and I are a real estate team. It works out great because he can do all the work while I do my volunteer work. No, seriously.
You must know my wife.
No, seriously. My husband and I make a good team, and I would suggest this to people who are considering becoming part of a team. Make sure that you pick a team or team members who complement your skills. We all like ourselves, right? We think, gosh, if only other people could be just like me, everybody'd be perfect, right? but but it's important to pick a team member who has the opposite skills. And that's the case with my husband and I. We're very different thinkers, and so that's what makes us a strong team because we can leverage off of each other's weaknesses and strengths. And that's really what you should look for in a team member. And it works out quite well because we're able to focus on two different things, three different things at once, and still provide that level of customer service to our clients that they so need. The other thing I'll say is that part of being successful is surrounding yourself with people that you see as smarter than you are. And in doing so, you learn. And we can talk about formal education, we can talk about advancing ourselves, but the value of learning from other people who are successful is immeasurable. And networking with those people and getting to know those people in a setting like this. Give of yourself. Think bigger than your transaction. Think about your industry and the bigger picture that feeds into your transactions, because without the bigger picture, there is no little picture. So I would just encourage everybody to get involved with other professionals, people that you aspire to be like.
Thank you. Now, just a little thing on the team, because it's something we haven't really talked about. But one of the things that you find in successful real estate agents is they typically have an exit strategy. How many in here actually want to work for the rest of your life? No. Who wants to get paid in retirement? Right? So planning now for that exit strategy. And that means you build your team now. If you know that you want to exit the business in the next 5-10 years, especially within 5 years, you need to go out and identify somebody who you could bring on, nurture, mentor, and then pass your business off to, and you'll receive residual income for the rest of your life. So just be thinking about that. So, okay, so I'm going to ask now. This is a question I didn't prep them with. Some of these they knew, but can I ask Ron, since if you don't mind, what is the one thing you struggle with most in your business right now? What's the one thing you wish you could improve upon? Sorry, I'm stumping them. One of you guys want to jump in if you can think of it? Like, where do you want to improve?
I think for me, it's organization. I'm really good with organizing my time. It's just the rest of everything. So,
Okay.
I'm working on that, but I think a lot of the tools that you just showed us will help me.
Anyone else? You don't have to answer, but if you have something, because I want you to, you're real people. We all struggle.
I'm well aware that I'm a promoter and I have ADD. So, so, so paperwork is not my forte. So I hired a friend. So yeah, if you're not really paperwork person, then you have to hire someone to help you on that side. Find someone that complement your challenges so that your life will be a lot easier and simpler.
My challenges are probably a little bit different because I am a player coach. So uh, I am actively selling real estate, but I also manage the brokerage that I own. So we have it varies from 18 to 20 people, and so my struggle is I get so focused on working so much that selling our own to our own clients, etc. And then you know the needs of our agents and how do we. So I'm constantly searching for time. It comes down to I need more hours in the day essentially. So
Yeah, real estate's a tough business. I mean, it's a 24-hour a day business, really. Okay. So let me also, Trevor, if you don't mind, favorite book, business book that you've read.
not too long ago, I was given a book called Built to Sell, and it's not a popular book, and you guys, no one here has read it. But it's yeah. I give all my agents a book called The Wealthy Barber, which is written years ago, and it's just a very plain, straightforward look at financial success. My goal for all my agents is to become independently wealthy through the acquisition of real estate. So everything we do is towards finding opportunities to buy real estate. But the book Built to Sell is about building a business that is saleable at the end of your career and then creating, understanding what that looks like. So that's for me personally may not apply to you.
The book that changed my life would be Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. You read it?
One of the books that I read most recently that I absolutely love is John Maxwell's Everyone Communicates, Few Connect. And I believe that we're in the relationship business, so we need to learn how to connect with people more. And that was something that, I think that we could all be better, whether we are strong in it or weak in it right now. That's something that he specifically identifies ways that you could be better and teaches you how to do it now versus later.
Mine's an oldie but a goodie. I really enjoyed Keller's Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And it opened my eyes to the team concept kind of early, as well as doing all the income generating activities myself and outsourcing everything else to somebody that I can pay less.
Well, I know you asked for one favorite, but I have two. As far as leadership goes, there's a fabulous book by John Maxwell, Five Levels of Leadership, and it really talks about not just how to become a leader, but the dynamics of how leadership occurs and how it's not a title. It has nothing to do with a title. It has to do with inspiring people and seeking other future leaders. And so it's a great book. But I was just sharing in a conversation at break with someone. Another one of my favorite books personally was a book I read called Too Perfect, because real estate agents tend to be pretty intense people, right? And this book that was given to me called Too Perfect is like, in my life, I want my business to be perfect. I want my marriage to be perfect. I want my sports activities to be perfect. And sometimes we put so much stress on ourselves to make everything so perfect when we can have a more successful life by allowing things to be a little bit less perfect here and there. And so I would recommend it for anybody who's a fairly intense person and wants every aspect of their life to be just so, because sometimes we're harder on ourselves than other people are on us. And it's a great book to keep yourself in perspective. So, yep, that's it.
So we are We have about 15 more minutes. I would love to give you guys an opportunity to ask them questions. We have a couple people walking around with microphones, but please don't be shy. This is your opportunity to ask them their secrets. Who's first? Do you want me to call you out? Really? Come on, guys. Daryl, you have a question, a burning question.
The coffee
we have
must have
one right
run
here.
out.
We have one right here. Yeah. Right behind you.
If you couldn't do real estate, what would be an alternate, or how would you spend your life, or what would you be doing if real estate was not an option for you to be doing as a profession?
Well, I'll answer that real quick. I go back to volunteering at the Humane Society. That's my thing. I already had a different career, and there's one thing to be competent at something, but it's totally different to actually be passionate about doing something. So real estate is my passion. I would have to probably go back to volunteering. I have a passion for animals.
I guess I'd do one of two things. I'd either go work for a nonprofit that I really believed in the cause of, or I'd go into resort hotel management. I feel like hospitality is very similar to what we do in real estate.
Well, I was asked that question recently, so I think I have an answer. I really do believe that it's your special skill set. So I feel like in real estate, we're all matchmakers, right? We match people with houses. So I really would love to be able to match more people with the person that they're meant to be with or with a job. Yeah, those are things that really, really make me happy. And I've been responsible for people, to 5 relationships, and 3 of them resulted in marriages so far.
Aww.
I've always been drawn to real estate. So if I'm not a realtor, I think I'll be either a flipper or a stager. I love staging. It takes up my whole day, couple of days, but I love expressing my creativity.
I would own restaurants and be an artist.
I have a question for you. What do you do for goal setting? Do you have a set plan? When do you do it? Do you do it at the beginning of the year? Do you do it at the end of the year? How do you move forward with your goals?
Yeah, so we do it all the time. We're re-looking at it all the time. We're not trying to be on a track like, okay, I know I want to sell X dollars, so I got to sell so much per month. Doesn't really work like that. But we know where we want to end up, and we always know we're going to do certain things to get there. And then we're also constantly looking at mega trends. So we're looking at from the investment side. So we're looking at you talked today about a ton of trends in our industry, but we also looking beyond that. Self-driving cars or migration of people from north to south in the United States, or lately, you know, policies for the government being more closed off to things like that. And we're trying to figure out where to allocate resources to invest. That's not exactly with real estate, but again, our goals are financial success.
So every November, I sit down and email my team members the 5-page business plan that they need to accomplish, and email me back, and we discuss it. We sit down with it, and they email it to me. And beginning of the year, about January, we go someplace. This year we went to the Bishop Coalina. We had breakfast buffet, and we brought our materials. We did our vision boards. We shared it with each other so that we know how to support each other, and we do that yearly. I check our numbers daily if we're on track. Like for this year, our initial goal was 60 million. We've exceeded that, so we changed our goal to 100 million by end of 2017. So it's always evolving, short term and long term.
I always believe in you have to have a deeply personal reason why you're doing something or it'll never get done. You know, like exercising. I'm still working on that. So for me, I have goals as far as like with my husband, with my family. So I have that section of it, and I'm actually broker in charge at List as well. And so I'm helping people find their deeply personal reason why. But then you also have to translate to the numbers. So you want to know what their goal is to really afford their what myself to our lifestyle or what we hope for and what our dreams are and what um, like vacations we want to take on because I'm really all about vacations. And so, so we set that goal like if you're going to do 3 million, 4 million, or obviously more to afford that, and how many transactions will that take? So I keep it simple, more of like post-it person in front of my bathroom or my bathroom mirror, and then there's like 5 things that really mean a lot to me, and that's how I work every year because you throw it out to the universe, and the universe will send it back to you.
Manage a handful of agents too, and I started off with the micromanagement, giving you number of transactions, number of deals, number of prospects, and how that closes. And I found that that really wasn't as effective for the people I work with. So I started concentrating more on macro and what brings you happiness, and how much money do you need to make to attain that level of happiness if it's related. And in many cases, it wasn't. So what can we do to support that? And then we revisit that with a weekly call.
My husband and I sit down at the beginning of every year, well, in November before our busy cycle starts, and we set not only monetary goals, but we focus more on analyzing our business and looking at what we want to achieve over the course of the next year. What do we think our business needs to be set up to be more profitable? Do we need to, we just bought a drone. Do we need new software, hardware? What applications do we want? We kind of make sure that we do a market analysis and see where we're at in terms of our business being the best it can be. We establish those goals, we establish the budget for it, and in addition to that, we establish what our goals are for our personal life. Like this year, my husband is handling a lot of real estate. I'm spending a lot of my time doing volunteer work. So we adjusted this last year. We adjusted down. Our expectation for personal time is very low this year. We know that. We're okay with that. So we kind of make the whole picture. And we'll do that again towards the end of this next year so that we make sure we have a balance, work hard, play hard, my famous motto for life. But that's what we have reasonable expectations going into the year, and we know what we want to change about our business. And then at the end of the year, when we go to do the next cycle, we analyze how did we do? Did we do this and measure our success with the things that we implemented?
Good questions. Any other audience questions? If not, I've come up with a couple. Oh, there is one right over here.
Thank you. I just have a technology question, actually. Okay, so I have an upcoming buyer consultation Monday, 8 a.m., and I still haven't determined what website or software I want to use. I would like to do a screen share. I was thinking Google Hangout, but they don't have Gmail addresses. They have Yahoo emails. I wonder if you can confirm if I could do that. I can figure it out. But and if not, what are 2 sites you could recommend that are free? I'm trying to think. I signed up for one, and the 30-day free membership thing expired. But if you have a couple of ideas, I could look into.
So I'll answer this, and if you guys want to chime in. If you can do FaceTime, if they have an iPhone, that's super easy. I know it's not screen sharing, but you can always turn your phone and they can see it. That's free and super easy. Skype is a share. That's what I do, but you do have to pay for it. It's $10 a month to have the screen share. What's nice about Skype is you can also have up to 8 different parties on the line. So if the husband's in Chicago and the wife's in Molokai and you're here, you can have everybody together. Do you guys use anything? That's what I use. Go ahead.
I use join.me, so you could do that. Okay. Yeah, it's the 33-day free trial, and then you pay for it after. It's pretty inexpensive though, so I think it's totally worth it. and you can record it, which I find useful. Yes.
You know, I can't confirm whether they can use a Yahoo address, but I can say that I've done this for many clients. Just create a Gmail address for them. You know, walk them through the account setup on their phone. It's a couple-minute process. It'll make your life a lot easier if you use Google Apps.
Any other audience questions? Yes.
What suggestions do you have for, maybe helping other agents get out of their self-pity?
How do you find motivation? What do you do? So if you're in a slump, how do you get out of your self-pity? I like that.
Well, to go back to the gold thing, now I realize I want to be Jackie. By the way, I want to sell $100 million. What I do is I channel Galen and I go to everything. Right? That's Galen's a great example. Every broker's open she's at. She knows her product. She knows the market, right? So if you have downtime, you gotta get out there and interact with other brokers, and that's my thing. I feel sometimes like I'm an island unto myself, and I'm not getting out there enough. And I'll purposely try to go see stuff. I might not even have any buyers or anything. I'll just go see stuff because we do sell a lot of real estate backwards, right? You just see a house, you're like, that's a great house, and that's a fair price. Now let me go find someone to buy it, instead of a buyer who says I want this, to my idol.
First of all, if you're doing your business properly, you won't have a slump. But because it's roller coaster, if we just prosper whenever we want to prosper, then our business will be up and down. But if you prosper consistently every day, then you wouldn't have a slump. Okay, in the event that you're there, um, pros- prospect, prospect. Look at your phone book. Who there would be a good buyer, um, seller, one thing I do is I look at my phone book and also Facebook and see if there's anyone in the family that's moving to mainland or to um, their son just gave birth and so they may need a house. Just look for these life changing events and see where you can fit in. Do a pop by, bring pie or something, and say, I just was in the neighborhood and was wondering. And then naturally, they will gravitate to real estate because they know you're a realtor. And then give them your business card, even if they don't need you at that time. Just tell them to pass on your business cards to anybody who know they are considering selling or buying. Um, your sphere of influence will be your treasure. So just constantly work that. Either call, text, messenger, pop by, do something every day. Send personal notes, whatever. Just prospect. Minimum 10 a day. And your business will go up right away in 7 weeks.
I was meeting with an agent, and that was the question that she asked me too. But in our office, there are three things I believe. So one of the things is get back to basics. And our office, and a lot of you in the room I already know, believe in the ninja selling and the ninja scorecard. So that's always something to go to. But what I asked her to do for homework was to tell me what worked when she was successful. If you can start listing down what worked for you when you were successful, or at least talk to someone who is successful if you're a brand new agent kind of sort of thing, then that will get you started. And then there's something that I fully believe in, which is just everything's transferable. So for wealth, it's like 8 streams of income, right? So for your real estate business, it'd be great to have eight arenas in which you can get business from. So I asked her to list 8 places she'd ideally like to get her business from. And then when she gets back to me, we'll figure out a way that she can market herself. Because without knowing all of that information, you wouldn't be able to go out there and find your clients. So one of the things that I do in particular to revitalize or whatever is do the things I love. So if this person happens to be very into gardening, so I'm like, go garden. because it really inspires you from within. And the people around you, you're going to have people there. So they could be potential prospects. And then for me, what I love to do is I love to throw parties for my friends. So, and they are my biggest source of business. So every time I throw a party, they're going to talk to me about real estate. And then somebody, so like even this past weekend, I went to Molokai. And then somebody was asking me about business. So I'm just going to do everything I love because that will get me business. And so that's something that you do is just start having fun. Think about your 8 streams of getting your business and what worked for you.
I'm with Trevor. I'm listening to these ladies and realizing I'm just not at the caliber that they're operating at. But with that said, I feel like slumps and down markets and down business, down moods for that matter, are probably just a natural human thing and a natural market thing. I kind of embrace it. I go back to doing the things that I love, relax, whether it's meditation, family, just concentrate on really what makes you tick again, and then get back to basics, like Caron said. If I'm not making money, it's because I've failed to do something, and most likely it's that I'm not networking with people. If I'm not out meeting people or getting with people or eating with them or doing something, not touching enough contacts, then I'm not going to make enough money. So
For me, when I have had a slump, I think it's a perfect time to take education because sitting in a room and absorbing something and learning something new touches our core and it makes us feel more confident about ourselves because I'm a person that believes in the human energy. And when you're in a slump and you feel in a slump, the client's radars are out. And they know that. And they don't sense your confidence and they don't sense you feeling good and powerful about yourself. And that's so important in our business. So I think doing something like taking an educational class is so perfect for those times because you've got the time, you walk out of there feeling empowered, that builds your confidence, and that's when you go back and then that attracts the world's energy to put you back in sync with where you are.
And I'm going to chime in here because slumps happen. It's natural. And for me, I always revisit my why. Why is it I do what I do, and what do I love most? And am I doing that? And if I'm not, then how can I get back there? But the why for me is I love to travel, and I love changing people's lives and helping people. And so I just, am I able to do these things on the path I'm on? And if I'm not, then I stop and redirect. And then just one little tip, and I can't remember which one, I've lost track, was talking about Facebook and prospecting. And this kind of reminded me of one of the things I think most real estate agents think is you make your most money selling houses, right? And I learned this. When I was in Texas, it was myself and an assistant. I had agents underneath me that I really didn't have a buyer's agent or a seller's agent. And I closed over 1,000 houses, like in a year, 100, 150 houses myself. And I remember I had a friend, actually a boyfriend, who said to me, well, what's going to happen when you die? And all the people that come to your funeral are going to say, she was a great realtor, but I don't know who she is. I don't know what she loves to do and what she likes in life. And wow, I realized he was right. All I was work all day with no fun. Obviously, I did not marry that person, but I do owe him a great deal of gratitude because he did shift my life. And then I met my husband, and we got to see the world. That join the Navy, see the world. It's true. We lived in Italy. He lived in Spain. I mean, you name it. We've had an incredible life. But when we moved to San Diego, my business partner had something very profound, and you guys can relate to this. I came from Texas, big state. And I was used to driving 2 hours to go show a client. I'd get in the car and I'd drive 45 minutes, and then I'd go another hour. And you do it in Texas because it's a big state. So I moved to California, San Diego, and it's 90 miles long by 35 miles wide, San Diego County. And I was going to do that. And my business partner looked at me and she said, you're crazy. She said, quality of life is more important. And she said, I work La Jolla. Y'all may or may not know California, but I work La Jolla up to Encinitas, and I work west of the 5. She, any given day, is not driving more than 15 minutes. Everybody else she refers out. And I was like, yeah, but all that business you're losing. She said, yeah, but that 25% referral fee that other people are paying me, y'all, it was the best bit of advice I've ever been given. It changed the way I do work. Um, I believe in referring to other agents and letting them do the hard work. All I have to do is make that connection, that relationship. So going back to Facebook, most of my income is by referral, and it's not me doing the work. I'm referring out. So I am on Facebook, and I see, Bob got a new job in Del Mar, California. Well, fantastic. I'm messaging them. Congratulations on the job. By the way, I have the best real estate agent there. Her name is XYZ. I'm going to go ahead and introduce you guys. I'm so excited for you. I find the opportunities to make money through my sphere, and I'm only doing the connecting. And I challenge you guys to do that because you can increase your income, and I'm not exaggerating here, by 100,000 a year just by doing that. Okay, so I'm going to leave it with that. Can we give them a big round of applause? Thank you guys so much, and kudos to all of you for taking time out of your busy days to come learn something new. It's been a pleasure. Have a great day. Susan, you want to wrap?
Thank you so much, Shannon. Let's give her a big hand. Thank you, panelists.